Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Warning: the Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
April 5th, 2018.
And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, author of Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, Trump's War, and God, Faith, and Reason, Michael Savage.
I'll soon be with you, my love. Give you my dawn surprise. I'll be with you time.
It is the Savage Nation, hour number 2, blasting out to America and the world. I have to close my eyes when saying that. Makes me project better. Try like being Stevie Wonder for a day. Welcome to the show. I don't know, with this song, whenever I hear this song, I think of San Francisco in the 1970s. You know, bell bottoms, patchouli oil, women with underarm hair, STDs were rampant. That was a paradise compared to today. Now you got human feces in the street, hypodermic needles. This is what liberalism brings. I mean, you can think about, is there a direct connection? Is it on the same? Yeah, it is, when you think about it. I mean, a city that lets fecal matter from a human being build up like it does in this city, it didn't originate by itself. It's part of an arc of liberalism that destroyed the entire mentality of the city. So you have a conference here today of gamers, you know, international gamers are in the city for a convention, and they are, according to the local paper, shell-shocked by the dangerous city, by the bums, by the drugs, by the beatings, by the mooks. They can't believe this. They never saw anything like this. They said the downtown felt really unsafe to myself and apparently many other attendees. And they said they don't want to come back to this city. The people who run this city and run this state don't understand what's going on because I don't think they live in the real world. Maybe they were the ones who did this to the city. Maybe they didn't do it to the city. Maybe it just happened to the city. Well, you know, but I studied the decline of cities. Take like Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon, when I first went up there, was a beautiful, safe, sane city. I used to go there on book tours. I'm talking early 70s. And I always loved doing 10-city book tours. They were exhausting. But when I get into Portland, I always stay in a downtown hotel. I like to walk in the downtown. There were always a few panhandlers, but they were benign. Now I see a show on TV with the drug peddlers, the heroin addicts in particular, openly buying drugs in the streets, openly shooting up heroin in doorways. The businesses are boarding up. Businesses are running away from the downtowns. Why do the drug addicts come to Portland, San Francisco, San Diego, Seattle? Why? Because they are welcome in these cities. They are welcome because so-called progressive mayors invited them in because they're oh so tolerant. Well, the progressive mayor of Portland, Oregon, a real psycho whack job, today said she would not comply with Donald Trump's request to activate the National Guard. Now, I told you that this would happen. I told it to you 2 days ago, then I said it to you again yesterday. Remember, I said he can't use the National Guard because he needs the governor's compliance. So he's got to use the military. And when he said he's going to put military on the border, I said, yeah, 82nd Airborne. No. Then they changed it yesterday to National Guard. So I said, how is that going to work when you have a left-wing fanatic running California? He's not going to activate the National Guard. He's in favor of illegal aliens. He's in favor of the drug flow. He's in favor of 1 million licenses to illegal aliens so they can vote and keep people like him and his ilk in power, to make Kamala Harris bigger than she is so she can go on the air and say kill the president and get a laugh line out of Ellen, the psycho, the pixie there, the wonderful Ellen. It's unbelievable. The country's melting down, and it's because they're violating the law. That is what they are doing. They're not skirting the law. They're violating the law. But that's for a politician to deal with, not me. I'm only a talk show host. Welcome to hour number 2 on the Savage Nation. Now let's play another song because I shouldn't have even talked. I felt so good listening to Cream playing that one. What is that? Something I Love? I don't know what the name of that is. Maybe I'll become a disc jockey. Work my way down the Radio Hall of Fame. Fleetwood Mac sold more than 100 million records worldwide. I can't believe the numbers. Did you know Fleetwood Mac's Rumors is the 5th best-selling album in the U.S.? 20 million copies of this album? I'm in the wrong business. I have a great voice. Maybe I should sell an album, but then no one buys that stuff anymore. Anyway, it's a great music group, Fleetwood Mac. Give me the other one. Did we just play Don't Stop? Give me Go Your Own Way, then I'll do some talking. Right now I'm waiting for lunch to come up, so my mind froze. Savage dancing? No, you can't dance. You're a conservative. You don't dance. Only we stoned hippies can dance. You can't dance. Hey, I got rhythm, man. I got to tell you that. I was always a good dancer, even as a kid. My mother taught me to dance. It's very interesting. How to brush my teeth, how to put on a tie. We don't respect our mothers enough in this country. Well, today everything's a mom. I love it. Would you ever see what a mom? Mom. Everything's a mom. I see the word mom, I want to puke. Everyone's a mom. You're not mom. What's a mom? There's a thing called a mother, and then there's a thing called a mom, right? Anyway, let's not go down that road because you'll get mad at me, and I don't want you to get mad at me. I'd rather you keep listening and get mad at me while listening rather than hang up and say I can't listen to it anymore. So what do you want to talk about? I asked you earlier this. I was thinking about You Can't Go Home Again, the great novel, right? And I was saying, all right, I'll ask my audience today because I think about moving to New York all the time now. It's a strange thing. Over the years that I've been gone, I would occasionally think of going back and moving back. My mother was still alive. I used to go back there and I'd visit my publishers, to this, to that. I'd always enjoy it for a week, 2 weeks. And then as time went on, my mother moved to Florida, then she passed away, then my family moved away. I don't go there anymore because the family is not there. So I would stay where I am, or I'd go to L.A. where I have another house, or I go to Florida where I have another house. And I don't go to New York, and I do miss it, especially when it snows. The only time I get jealous of Manhattan is when I see snow in Manhattan. I want to be there. I don't know what it is. It's like weird. It's like Moscow. Reminds me of like pictures of Moscow, like walking with like great coats with like flakes on your lashes, like up an avenue. It reminds me of when I would race cars in Central Park in the snow. One of my favorite memories of my whole life is I had a Morgan Plus 4, if you know what that car is. It's like an interesting, very low-to-the-ground car that had a wooden frame, if you can believe it. And it was pretty fast for its time. And we went into Central Park in a snowstorm and raced through Central Park, getting all over the road. Man, it was fun to be young and crazy, I got to tell you. Today I'm a 56-mile-an-hour guy in the middle lane. I'm the guy I used to laugh at. We used to laugh at guys who say, oh, yeah, he ought to go to Europe in an air-conditioned Chrysler. We were going to Europe like in troop transports, eating bread in the street, drinking wine. We thought we were wild and crazy. And we laugh at the people who go to Europe and rent a Chrysler, right? It seems to me a good way to see Europe now is in a rented Chrysler rather than eating bread in the street, I got to tell you. But today I wouldn't even go to Europe. I mean, I don't want to go there. There are things I think about doing I won't do anymore because of the changing let us say, situations in the street. Do I really want to go to Paris today? Do I really want to go to Paris and see murderers walking around the streets? A group of French soldiers were off duty. Did you see this story? A woman was being mugged, her cell phone stolen by some migrants, they call them. I love the word migrants. Migrant youth gang. Stealing a phone. So the three soldiers run after the bum, and they give him a good beating. They get arrested. They get arrested because they beat the bum up who was robbing the girl. The world is upside down. Do I want to go to a city that beats up soldiers who protect civilians? No, I don't. No, thank you. No, I don't. We got to get rid of these left-wing psychos that are running the whole West off the rails. So, okay, we have a president who tried to do it. Look what happened to him. Whatever he does, they call him every name under the sun. Why? Special interests. And you can pretty much put two and two together. What sane politician would not want the drug flow stopped from the border? Tell me who wouldn't want that. Let's see, politicians who benefit from the drug flow? You haven't seen enough movies since the 1960s? You can't put two and two together. I love all the liberals would talk about the CIA brought in heroin from Southeast Asia in caskets in the 70s. Remember those great stories? Air America, all that stuff? You believed all that, right? Oh, yeah, corrupt CIA. They brought drugs in the caskets. Some great movies done on it. What, you can't now put two and two together with why the drug flow won't stop coming into America? There's no connection between that and politicians? Oh, that you can't see because all your favorite politicians are progressives. They're all on the take. What do you think they're taking? Why do you think they want the drugs here? Oh, you can't, that doesn't compute to you. Trump's the racist. Trump's the this. Trump's the that. Well, let me remind you of something. Let me go into defense mode for 1 second. I said it yesterday. I was very happy that I said it. I said it once during the show and once at the end of the show. In America, we are innocent until proven guilty. For over a year now, This bum, this mook, this guy called Mueller has persecuted this president with innuendo, with false accusations, and they found nothing. Trump has been made guilty without a trial, both by him and the Wolf Blitzers and all the vermin in the media. I thought all these good, progressive, humanitarian liberals believed in humanitarianism. I thought that we were innocent until proven guilty, but not in Trump's case. He's guilty until proven innocent. The guilty party here happens to be Mueller. I'm starting to get very, very sick in my stomach about this guy. He even looks shadowy. He's starting to look hunted because he knows he made a huge mistake. Whoever led him down this road, whoever laid the breadcrumbs for him to go down this road to find collusion between Trump and Russia is the person who he knows destroyed his career and his reputation. And as I said this morning on the Bernie and Sid show in New York, if you look into Mueller's background, the man was a very, very good soldier. He fought in Vietnam. He was injured in Vietnam. He has a Purple Heart. He received the Bronze Star. The man comes from a great family. How did he become so deranged as to take this lie about collusion with Russia and to waste taxpayer money for, what, a year now? More than a year? Find nothing and not let it go and say, okay, it's over. I say it's time to end this persecution of the president. I say we are innocent until proven guilty. And I think it's very dangerous for everyone in this country, even if you're a progressive, to permit a rogue prosecutor to search and search and search and search and search until he can nail you with something. Because if you liberal judges and lawyers listening to the show follow the logic of what I'm saying, every one of your clients, if they're subjected to this kind of behavior from a prosecutor, would be found guilty of something. Let's say your client was arrested for dealing drugs, and you're the defense attorney. Now the prosecutor says, well, let me look into his tax records going back 10 years. You'd say, no, it's not relevant. Well, he'd say, no, it is relevant. Well, why would you let him look into this, look into that? You wouldn't let him do it. So it applies to your drug dealer friend, should apply to everyone else in this country. And I'm telling you right now, this is out of control. To the average citizen, there's a very danger to our democracy itself to permit a rogue prosecutor to take an original mandate on collusion with Russia and now turn it into anything he wants. Did you get a parking ticket on Utopia Parkway and not pay it? Did you not return a library book while you were at the New York Military Academy? Did you once spit in the street in New York and not pay the fine? Did you jump a turnstile when you were a teenager, Donald Trump? Aha, we got you jumping a turnstile in 1965. That's what you're going to go to jail for. That's the kind of world you want to live in? No, thank you. It's time to get Mueller off this persecution track, wrap it up, put it away, and let's move on. It's destroying the country. You'll notice that even that loudmouth, Maxine Waters, stopped with impeach, 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 impeach. Why'd she stop all of a sudden? Because you know she's full of it, number one. And number two, I started saying, let's have someone investigate Maxine Waters for her years on that committee, when she was in some finance committee, and they were giving out federal money, meaning taxpayer money, to banks during the S&L crisis. Her husband owned a minority bank, and she gave them $12 million, according to my records, and what I read, rather, and never got the money back. You talk about impeach, impeach, impeach. It's an old game, isn't it? The best defense is a good offense, and the Republicans are so stupid, they're so wimpy, that they don't even go after their enemies in the right way, which is the only way, which is 100%. Go after them where they are really weak. But anyway, we're running out of time. I'll be back in a minute.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. April 5th, 2018.
Dainu, 125 here on the West Coast. That means 425 on the East Coast. I don't know what time it is in Karachi, but more or less 25 after the hour. Dainu means that would be enough, too. I don't like the version, though. Very corny. Anyway, welcome back to the program. We're talking about crime and punishment and the lack thereof around America, and how a woman like Kamala Harris could go on a TV show like Ellen DeGeneres and say, basically, kill the president in an elevator, and the host laughs. Now, if I did that, which I would never do, I'd be off the air the next second. My advertisers would be gone. What is there, a second set of rules here for Ellen DeGeneres because she's not like me? What kind of country am I living in? What kind of country? It's upside down, twisted, you name it. And because of the monopoly of the 4 ad agencies, the czars who control where ads go what? people can get away with murder. And talking about murder, nothing happens. One of us on the conservative side sneezes the wrong way. Oh, we're pulling your advertisers. Terrible. This has to change. This must change. And if I were part of the FCC, believe me, times would be a-changing in this country. They wouldn't be getting away with this kind of dictatorial behavior. Richard on WABC Line 3, go ahead. What's on your mind?
Hello, Michael. Michael, first of all, you come home again. I'm in Manhattan, my friend. And this is a very special call because I am very psychic, and I am a psychic, but more important, let me ask you one quick question about the Morgan first. Does it have a little belt around the hood?
Yeah, it had a belt around the hood. It was a +4 British Racing Green.
Really?
But what's the... Hurry up, we got only a minute. I want to hear... I'm dying to hear what you were going to say.
You are in a transition, Michael, a spiritual transition. I want you to let go of yesterday. Your tomorrow is in search of you right now, and you have no idea. Your spiritual enlightenment is about to happen to you, and it'll manifest in a way which will change your whole dynamic, your whole aura. And it's so obvious, and I think your listeners understand what I'm saying.
I kind of understand what you're saying, but if you could articulate a little more, I'd appreciate it. What do you mean by my thing, my whatever? What's changing?
You are a spirit who is so enlightened, and you're tortured by the fact that you're also a human being who sees what's going on, and what you see tortures you. Your sensitivity is so acute, and you don't...
Well, now you're right. I am a tortured soul. I have been since I'm a child.
But this is an evolution. You're like a phoenix. You're like the bird that comes out of the ashes. It's time for you to fly, man. You have no idea what's in front.
Well, what does it mean? I should become like a religious figure and become a guru?
No, you should just let go of yesterday. And you should let your...
How do I let go of yesterday? Would I stop eating corned beef? I don't know what you mean. Stay on the line. I really want to hear more about this. What is my yesterday? Don't talk about the past. I'd love to know what this man means.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
Castle in the sky.
34 minutes after the hour on the one and only Savage Nation. It's a unique show, whether you like it or not. You're listening because you like it, or else you wouldn't be listening, right? You got a choice. You can listen to a hammer, a nail, an Electrolux vacuum show, whatever. So look, before the break, a guy called from New York. He says he's a psychic, and I'm moving into a period of light, a transitional phase. I don't know what it meant. I'm going to give him a little more time to... I want to hear it, that's all. Richard, okay, I take you on face value that you are a psychic because I know that there are such people. Yes. And you don't know me, but you only hear my voice. So how do you know that I'm going through such a phase?
Don't say that. Don't say that. You wrote that book, God, Faith, and Reason? I don't just hear your voice. I hear your spirit, my friend. And I'm not being new agey about this. Listen, I felt compelled to call you on a spiritual level. I don't call talk shows. I really don't. And quite frankly, I'm giving you a very important message, not only for you, but you're a leader. You know, some people are in search of the light. You are the light. You illuminate things, my friend. You can light up the world now. It's your time. And you know it. And you don't know where to go with it. And it's so obvious. And I feel I must tell you that. I don't have much time. I know you'll probably just hang up.
No, I won't. I'll tell you why. Because my palmist, who will be on tomorrow, who I tell you, I know the guy very well. I got to know him, Vernon Mahabal, who read my hand. He told me the exact same thing is coming in 2018. And I truthfully don't know what the direction is. I'll be honest with you. I am going through a lot of soul searching about what to do with the rest of my life on Earth, and I don't exactly know what it is.
Let me help you with this. Just in a few minutes here. I know I don't have much time, but I'll do the best I can. You're brilliant. Your brain is so brilliant. It's really, you're too brilliant for your own good. You actually think your head is where your real gift is. No. You're brilliant, but you're not very bright, meaning that your brightness is in your soul, in your spirit. You're a leader. You're like a work of art. You know, God makes works of art, and then he makes other little drawings. You're the art. And sometimes you minimize your own art because you don't realize that people take you very seriously. Even the president takes you very seriously. I think he's scared to death of you because you're so powerful and so...
Stop it. Don't say that.
I really...
Well, okay. No, this is great. Listen, if I were gay, I would invite you to marry me. You're great. Keep going.
Look, I do understand you on a deep level. You make me laugh. You make me cry. You make me be silent. If you can make me be silent, I love to talk, and I love to write poetry, and I do many other things. You'd be amazed at my...
All right, in all seriousness, I'm taking you seriously now, as seriously as you take me.
Yes.
What do you envision is the next phase of this enlightenment?
You're about to have things enter your life. Rather than you find them, they're going to find you. If you let go of yesterday, like I said, you want a mantra? Would you like a mantra?
Yes. No, I want you to tell me what you mean by let go of yesterday.
Let go of yesterday means that you're so tortured with solving the world's problems. What you talk about the liberals and about the streets and the way, and you see decay. You see the decay, and it's killing you. And you're allowing it to kill you. No, this can't kill you. This has to definitely inspire you to move forward. You are the future. You're not the past. You're not going to be able to solve the problems with your brain or with your yelling or with your trying to convince people that liberals are what they are. but you can lead the way and be the light. And here's what I mean. Letting go of yesterday means getting the brain out of the way, being available, and letting life find you. It means you say to tomorrow, come get me. Come get me. It's ready to get you. It's looking for you. I know what's going to happen in your tomorrow. You're a leader. You're about to enter a phase where you're more important than the president himself, actually. Donald Trump, like many others, are in a mold, and they're in a loop. They can't get out of their own way because they have a mindset. Well, you're beyond the mindset. You hear voices in your spirit that make you do things, and you're very much uncensored because you can't censor yourself. Logic is not where you're at. Where you are at is No,
I'm listening to you as though you're a friend or an advisor. I've heard this before. I feel it in my own soul. But listen to me. What are the options in your mind for such a human being? I'll make myself a third person. What's the option for this person?
The options are that if you continue along the path that you're going, in the sense that you are just, your rage and your outrage is so severe that it's going to hurt you more than help you, and you'll hurt your own cause.
That is true. That's true. My health is already, I'm getting the health warnings. The health is suffering as a result of this. Right. That's true.
Exactly. But you're ready to let go and move forward. If you move forward, your flock, I'll call it, people that relate to your truth, and many, many do on a deep level. They don't even know it themselves. That's why you have this listenership. They love you, and they're so intrigued that because you're so real, you really are plugged into the spiritual sense, nature of life, and the meaning, whatever that is. And that's where your power is. Look, you came from a similar past that I came from. I'm a Jewish guy, right?
Yes.
Okay? And I was raised by what I would call, I wouldn't say, I didn't get the kind of nurturing perhaps I should have gotten, and there was a lot of confusion because I'm super sensitive, and I was very creative, and fortunately, I was very rebellious, so I was able to survive. I had a little pilot light inside of me that I kept lit at all times, at all costs. And it has become a flame. I've allowed it to become a flame.
So you are, when you say you're a psychic, do you see people and help them, or are you just in your own mind?
Professional psychic.
You're a what?
I am a professional psychic, although that is not my profession.
Well, I'd be interested in learning more about you. Do you want to give out a website or something where people can contact you? Because I guarantee you right now, people are awed by you.
Well, I don't know if they're awed by me. I consider this a very personal call. I wish I could have made it off the air, but I'm glad they're on the call because they need. Well,
here's what we're going to do, Richard. Two things. One, we're going to, if you want, I'm going to have my guys take your email address. I will call you. We will talk.
That sounds.
And I'd like to learn more about what you envision, because I will tell you, I'm at a dead end. I am at a spiritual and emotional. No, I'll tell you, I'm not ashamed to admit it on the air. If this show weren't based upon my reality, I wouldn't be on the air anymore. It's a place for me to vent and let my soul fly. Otherwise, I become one of these guys like that you see on television. They're not bad people, but they're not open people. They're not spiritual people. I am, and I know the difference. But what I'm saying is I know that I'm at a hiatus or a transitional period in my life, and I keep bouncing up against this invisible boundary, and I can feel it. It's like I'm flying towards it, and I keep getting pushed back by this invisible membrane. What is on the other side of that membrane? Is it death? Is that where my enlightenment is, I ask myself? Have I finished my life on Earth, I ask myself? Is this pathway indicating to me that it's over? Don't think I don't ask these questions. I do, but Richard, I've asked these since I'm 6 years old. You know what I'm saying or not?
Sometimes you ask. I mean, even Christ asked on the cross, "Why hast thou forsaken me?" He wasn't sure what the hell is going on here. So, the answer can appear in an instant, and it can answer all the things you've gone through and the reasons why you've gone through them. And
but you're talking about almost like an LSD mescaline mushroom experience. Supposedly, I don't use drugs. I see now. Wow, that's cool. But I'm not a drug user, so I know about all of those flashes of enlightenment.
Listen, I have never used drugs. I never have used drugs, which is a miracle because I came out of a whole culture of drugs.
That's right. But wait a minute. So let's talk about religion for a minute. Do you think religion is a path of enlightenment?
I think enlightenment's a path to religion, not the other way around.
Oh, you better write a book called Faith, God, and Reason rather than God, Faith, and Reason.
Listen, my friend, you are an inspiration to all, but it's time now that you actually follow your own footsteps.
So what is it that you think I should do? Become a guru and lead, like move to Oregon and get a ranch with 18 Rolls Royces, or what?
I mean, be confused after this call, but see a little race.
I'm not going to be confused. It didn't alter my being because what you are saying is resonating with what I already know. But the question is, where do I go, not what I know?
Hearing it from what you call the stranger, and I'm not, is going to alter your own consciousness. You'll see after our call. You'll see. You're like a hypnotic, like a hypnotist too. No, I've just spoken to your spirit, and it's listening. I know it is, and it's going to change your perspective. It's going to do something to you. And I'm not saying I have magic powers of any kind, because I don't.
You know how many people are listening to you right now around this country and around the world on the internet? You know how many people are being touched by you, not only about you to me, but you to them? You're making them think about what you're saying about enlightenment.
Yes.
Do you want any of them to contact you on a professional basis?
I'm not looking for business, Michael. I'm here because
So then you may not even be real. You may not even be really on this earth. You could be a spirit from another dimension.
You're right.
I had this, and listen to me, I had this happen once before in my entire 25-year career. This is almost eerie. I once had a man call who claimed to be a very Hasidic rabbi, I believe. And he said things that I couldn't believe I was listening to on the airwaves. And I got a feeling afterwards that it wasn't even a human being. I had a feeling that this was a spirit calling the radio show.
Well, no doubt he was a spirit calling the radio show. If he happened to be a human being at the same time, that was a coincidence.
Oh, you're very clever, man, and you answered it in a certain way.
Telling you the truth.
Well, I just heard a siren in the background, so you can't be on another planet.
I'm in. Oh, you're so. See that? You got logical on me.
Well, okay, but did I hear a siren or not? They don't have sirens on Mars, do they?
I barely heard it, but obviously you don't miss a thing.
That's how I survive. I know where my enemies are coming from. I know who's blocking my access to the president. I know who's blocking my access to Fox News. And let me tell you something else. I know people in this business who claim to be conservatives. Their greed knows no bounds. Their desire to suck the oxygen out of everybody around them is something that if people actually knew who they were, they wouldn't listen to them for another 10 seconds because they'd see them as being some of the most evil phonies on the planet. What do you think about that?
Michael, I know you see exactly what is on both sides. Truth is truth to you. It doesn't matter where it comes from. Love.
If they could steal the oxygen out of my nostrils, they would do it and then claim that they're big conservatives who believe in American values. But that's neither here nor there. What's important is what you just said, because the future is the future. The past is the past. And you're saying let go of the past to go into the future and let the future come to you. Isn't that the sum total of what you're trying to say?
Yes, be available for tomorrow because it's looking for you. Your tomorrow is in search of you. I know it sounds kind of weird, but your tomorrow is looking for you. But
all right, so let me ask you a question, and I want you to think about it, and then I'm going to let you go, and please give me your email address to the guys. Do you think my future, and just looking around, feeling, vibing, do you think my future is going back into science and going into science in the government?
I think your future is going into government, yes, but not directly the way you're thinking of it. And I think you are really, as I said, a leader, but you need to not know how serious your purpose is in life. You're really above anybody who's currently in the government, and you're really beyond that. You're beyond it.
That's right. Now, let me tell you something. I have thought about it. I've thought about leaving the media and going into government in the sciences to steer the sciences back to where they should be, which is an open forum of ideas rather than what it has become. But let's put that aside. And then I said, what am I going to become? A bureaucrat running a major agency? No one will ever know me. I'll have no influence whatsoever. I'll be caught up in office politics. What is that life going to be like for me?
That isn't for you.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't for me. I never was an organization man.
You're going to create, and I say the word create. You're going to create a new way of doing your life, and you're doing your gifts, and all these things. Your accumulation of knowledge, spiritually and otherwise, is going to be able to have a form of its own, and people will follow you rather than you plugging yourself into some stupid institution.
That's right. No, I don't want to be an institution, but what you're saying is I am an institution unto myself. So that leads only one path. I see the light leading me only in one place, and I don't know that I want to go there.
No, Michael, your light is light that has to shine and illuminate things. It isn't one that you're going to put in a little socket and be in some corner of a closet.
Okay, let me ask you something. I got to take a commercial break, which keeps this show going. Would you care to stay on for another couple of minutes, or do you think we've had enough publicly and like to do the rest privately?
Your wish is my command. I think I've heard that somewhere. You want me to stay on? I'll stay on for a few more minutes.
Yes, I want to talk with you about a vision I have, not only for myself, but for my audience and America, the minute I return in the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
So before we go back to regular program, I want to tell you that it is tax season still. Some are still paying taxes, and there's a guy named Russ and his wife. And for them, tax season brought them a lot of anxiety over their unpaid taxes and what the IRS could do to them. Twice, his wife said they get expert advice. Twice, Russ said no. For one, they owed thousands to the IRS and couldn't pay, and Russ was afraid that even asking advice could trigger an IRS action. That's real. Now, if you can relate to this story about Russ, you need to call Optima Tax Relief, because Optima knows that behind every tax problem are good people with families, home savings, and paychecks that need protection, which is how they've resolved over $500 million in tax debt for their clients. And they're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They're real and they're good. And when you call Optima to explore all the ways they can help solve your IRS problems, your call is shielded and completely confidential. Simple. Call Optima Tax Relief, 800-731-2474. Write it down. 800-731-2474. Once again, 800-731-2474. Every once in a while, in this business of mine called talk radio, we get an exceptional caller that comes out of the woodwork or out of the world or out of another ether, and it just happened. The man claims he is a psychic. He claims that I am moving into a period of light and I'm in a transitional phase. He claims I am more important than even I think I am, which is hard to believe given I'm so narcissistic and ego-driven. As a talk show host, we all are. Don't fool yourself. You can't survive a minute in this business unless you are that. But he said beyond that, there's something much deeper in your spirit and so much more important than simply politics. And I've invited Richard to stay with us in the next hour. Now, I know many of you are dying to hear the rest of this, and the lucky ones who listen to me online or on stations that carry me, such as KSFO in San Francisco, KLIF in Dallas, and so many others, will get that opportunity. The rest of you, I'm sorry, talk to your local program director. But nevertheless, when I come back, the psychic will join us on the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-SAVAGE.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of borders, language, culture. And here he is, author of Liberalism is a Mental Disorder, Trump's War, and God, Faith, and Reason, Michael Savage.
It's a little weird. Kind of goes with my dinner last night. Not the show topic, but welcome back to the Savage Nation. I'm not going to read the news headlines. We know that Kamala Harris just destroyed her career by giving a Trump death joke. Any other politician, particularly a white male, will be finished. DeGeneres would be off the air. You'll see that there's a 2-tiered, 3-tiered system in America, and there'll be no discussion of this disgusting death joke by Kamala Harris, who they've selected, the corrupt machine in California, to be the next something or other. She'll never be president. Let me tell you right now, never. There's a reality ceiling in the country, and it's after Trump. I'll tell you right now, it's even going to be even more scrutiny than before. But I want to put politics aside for a minute. Every so often in radio, a caller comes along that changes the course of things. It's happened a few times in my 24 years on the radio. In the last hour, out of nowhere, a man calls from New York City, Richard on WABC. He says to be a psychic, claims to be a psychic, and he says, Michael, you're moving into a period of light. You're in a transitional phase. Let the past disappear. Let go of the past and embrace the future. I'm not going to review everything that was said because I'm going to probably take this call and what comes up now, put it together and put it on michaelsavage.com and let you listen to it again. Richard on WABC Line 3, welcome back. Thanks for holding so long.
Michael, it's a pleasure to have held them because I was actually tuning in to what I consider my higher sources about you.
Yep.
And a couple of things came up, and I want to share them with you quickly. I know time is important on your show. That a lot of listeners, a lot of people have things they want to talk about. But here's a little information, okay?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you wrote a book, God, Faith, and Reason, right?
Yes.
Well, God is a big subject, and it's been a subject of concern of yours, or in your inner light, if you will, you sense that life has a meaning, a purpose. And yet at times you get very logical and you second-guess yourself about it, and you're going back and forth. Okay, faith. Faith is everything to you, because without faith, life is over. So faith is no.
That is right. I have to have a reason to get up every morning, and the days I get up and I think I'm not going to talk about the news one more second, I can't do it because there's no reason for me to do it. They can get it in 2 seconds on the internet.
Exactly. But the last word of your title is reason, okay?
Yep.
So I'm here to tell you, you're about to find the reason for you to be here. And it's profound. You're not just another person. You're a leader, and I told you just before the break that you really now have to follow your own footsteps. It's your time. So I'm very excited about it, and yet at the same time I'm just praying.
Yeah, that leads a person. You're talking to me, and I'm opening up to my audience at the same time because I feel it to be very interesting radio. If I were listening to radio, and I listen to the host and follow him over years, I listen to it. I think it's interesting. But what do you mean by that? I mean, like, in your mind, we don't know each other. Where am I going to go? I'm at the top of my field as a writer and as a broadcaster. Forget that the little people here and there don't report on me. What do I care? I'm bigger than they are. But what is it that you mean? What can I do that's better than this?
No, it's not what you can do. It's what you can be, and then you will be doing what you need to do. Everything you've done up till now, and it's great. I mean, I wish I had the resume you have. It's astounding. But you keep accomplishing things that are very important and meaningful. Your knowledge and your accomplishments on radio, your ratings, in spite of everybody who's trying to destroy your career, speak for itself. You're celebrated everywhere, but now you need to be celebrated by life, by God, and by yourself. I told you something important, and I'll go back to your father. You're an art form, my friend. You really are an art form. You practice the art of being a person, which is the ultimate art form. Unfortunately, I don't think you got the kind of feedback about who you are, what you are, and what you were here for that you may have needed. But you're getting it now. You're getting it.
But Richard, let me ask you something. What could be more profound in terms of leading people than having a daily 3-hour radio show and writing books and having a website? What is a better way to lead people today?
No, it's wonderful, but you're not satisfied with it. because you see a world that is literally in chaos and is really in hell, if you want to call it that. And
that is right. I see a city that I once loved in decline. I see a nobody dirtbag like Kamala Harris, a zero, an invention of the corrupt Democrat socialist machine that destroyed this state, a nobody, a zero. All of a sudden, they're making a president. She goes on a TV show and says a Trump kill joke. That's funny? That's not funny. So I'm saying, what kind of world am I living in? And I look at the media. It's a very, very dangerous place to be in.
And that's why
because it's dangerous to the human soul to be in the world that I am in. This is the most caustic of all universes, is the universe of the media. So I don't quite know where I'm going to go. I don't know what. I'm going to visit Washington at the end of the month to a diplomatic dinner. I'm going to probably see the president at that time. I hope I do. Now, what am I supposed to do? Ask for a job in the government running a science foundation?
Michael, I know it's hard for you to accept, but if you were allowed tomorrow, and I use that word, to find you right now, you're going to have things appear in your, even after this call, that will change where you go, what you do, and how you do it. Your mind is trying to figure it out. It's your spirit that knows exactly what to do now. I know that sounds a little bit new agey, but it isn't. Believe me, the answers are all in your spirit now. They're not in your brain.
Well, I'm sure you've told this to other people in your career as a psychic, haven't you?
Michael, I'm talking to you, and you're totally unique, and this reading I'm giving you, I'm not thinking about it. It's coming through me, not from me, okay? I'm just telling you this is from my spirit, my heart, and my mind all together.
Let's put it this way. We don't know you. I take you on your word. But I would suspect that what you are saying on this national radio show is reverberating with a lot of people other than myself, maybe including myself, and there's going to be change made as a result of your statements going out to the world. Did you ever think about that?
Thinking is wonderful, Michael. I am not into thinking, though. I'm really not into thinking. I realize the mind just says yes, no, and maybe. That's about all it can do. It gets confused because it's not sure of any of the one of three things. So I really allow my spirit to operate, my creativity, my passion. I save Mustangs, wild Mustangs.
You mean you save horses, right?
Yes, I do.
Just as I try to save elephants to no avail right now. That's a heartbreaker, by the way, what's happening with the wild creatures of the earth. I thought I'd have some influence over this administration. The exact opposite happened.
Well, I broke my heart when you reached out to the president, and with such a wonderful cause, and something that would help him, not hurt him. And I don't even want to go into what happened.
No, I don't want to go there right now. It's too heartbreaking to think how he was steered away from that. So 1 minute before you go, Richard, because we're going in circles now, because I ask you for definitive ideas as to what you think the soul is looking for. And, of course, you can't answer that question because it's up to each person to let the soul speak for itself. But I want to go back to religion. Right now, we are in the midst of a Passover holiday for the Jewish people, which is a renewal in many ways, where Jewish people are supposed to think about their own enslavement by their own enslavement. What their enslavements may be, and everyone has their own, right? You're really talking about letting go of my enslavements, aren't you?
Yes, you put it well. You put it well. And
well, I'm saying this to you because I'm speaking to a lot of other people at the same time. Christians, Jews, it doesn't matter what their religion is. We're all enslaved by our passions. And I believe what you are suggesting is by letting go of that enslavement, we can ascend to the next stage of our spiritual development. Isn't that what you're saying?
That's for the whole planet. That is for the whole planet. We won't even talk about the universe. Let's just talk about the planet. The planet needs to now renew itself and let go of all the horror of what has happened and is happening. You know, we go back to the Nazis even. I mean, we have to let go of the horror and begin to see the light. The light is really in your...
No, I understand. I try to tell people who live in the past to let go of it, whether it's Jewish people who live only in the Holocaust and make the Holocaust the center of their life. They're enslaved by that. Whether it's other people who live by talking only about slavery when they themselves were never enslaved, they're enslaving themselves by focusing on that. But I want to go to God himself, because if you read the prayer book, one of the prayers is the Lord is a God of retribution. And the Jewish people pray, the religious Jews, and say, O God of retribution, reveal yourself. Judge of the earth, arise, render to the arrogant their recompense. How long shall the wicked, O Lord, how long shall the wicked exult? They continuously speak insolently. All the evildoers act arrogantly. They crush your people, and so forth and so on. And so, in the ancient scriptures, as translated into English, there was a prayer asking God to cast retribution upon the evil people on the earth. And yet we wake up and we see the most evil people on the earth doing the most evil things and getting away with it. And you're saying to me, let that go. It's not your business.
No, it is your business, but the way to overcome that and the way to, if you will, to eliminate that is for you to move into the light. The light will remove the darkness, if you will. The darkness only has a purpose if there's light. I believe that...
Yeah, but when you keep talking about the light, Richard, I'm hearing a New Age sermon, and I'm not knocking it. There's some New Age elements that are wonderful, and I've seen them in my life. In some ways, we've all benefited from some of the New Age philosophies that have come along, whether it be nutrition or healing modalities. They're all New Age things, and some of them have saved millions of lives. But what do you mean by the light? What is this light that you are referring to?
I can make a little bit of an analogy to the light, okay? Have you ever had moments, Michael, where you actually were with somebody or something, or even alone, where you literally, you realized there were no words, but not only no words, but that everything made total sense for one instant?
Yes, of course we all do. Yes, it's been rare, but yes, we all have those moments.
And for that moment, it all somehow is right.
Yeah, so things click, right?
Now,
every time I hear a newborn baby cry or touch the leaves or see the sky, then I know why I believe. That kind of moment, yes.
Well, you always have a lyric for something, right?
I'm a lyrical guy. I have lyricism.
Michael, I don't want to dilute what I know I've reached in you. I don't want to dilute it. You understand?
Well, I don't really know what it is you're saying. I mean, in some ways, my logic fails me here. I don't know what you're leading to.
Well, maybe it's best that your logic fails you, because I think if your logic has failed you, then something else is operating, because your logic rarely fails you. That's for sure.
Well, I could use my logic to say, okay, there's only a few logical steps I can take right now in my life and move in certain directions. Only a few directions I can move in. And all I keep hearing underneath all of this, Richard, from the rumblings underneath my soul, is to set up an ideal community somewhere and lead people to this ideal community and create a new world. That's all I can think of.
Well, that vision you're having will take form in a different way than you think it's going to take form, but that's exactly what you need to be doing. You need to really take what you are and who you are and where you are very seriously, because you are the hope at this point. Not you alone, but you definitely are a leader. That's why you have the position you have and the power, and that people listen every single day. Do you know why they listen, Michael?
Kind of know. What do you say?
Michael, you are what I call their lifeline. You are the real deal. They don't see the real deal around them. They are living desperately. You've heard people live lives of desperation. Well, they are living...
Quiet desperation, right.
That's the line. Thank you. But they are, and you are, I don't want to use that word again, light. You are the lifeline for them, because you're speaking truth, but you're not only speaking truth. The truth isn't only in your logic. The truth is in your message that you understand and you care about them, and you connect to them on that level. They tune in that radio and they say, "Oh my God, they're so excited. They're like little kids with a father." Oh, Michael.
So I look, Richard. We don't know each other. This has been a very, very wonderful conversation, but I don't know if there's much more that we can do publicly. I think the rest has to be on a phone call between you and I.
I want to give you and your listeners a mantra. Okay, how's that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just write it down if you can. It's very simple. The first line is, "My tomorrow is in search of me." My tomorrow is in search of me. Okay? Second line. I'm letting go of yesterday. I'm letting go of yesterday. third line, I am available. I'm available. And the last line, come get me.
Oh, you're good. You are good.
Damn it.
You and I could do a great YouTube piece together. I'll tell you that.
Oh, we'll do it if you want.
We'll do. When I'm in New York at the end of the month. Do you live in New York?
I'm in Manhattan, Midtown.
You're a real New Yorker. You're one of the old Manhattano Indians. You're one of the Native Americans. You're a Manhattano.
I've been through it, in it, through it, and I'm still in it and going through it.
All right. Well, I got to take a break, but Richard, I don't know what else to say right now, and I'm glad you've taken the time, and I've taken the time to listen to you. This is very unique for me because you've listened to my show long enough to know. Normally, I would listen and say I've got to run along, but I heard something in you that I felt was very important for the listeners, not so much for myself. I think that if you don't help me directly, and maybe you will, you've helped others by telling them to do what you're telling me to do. And so I have your email, I have your phone, I will give you a call at some point, and we will talk again, and perhaps fate will bring us together, and we can figure out what more that can be done to bring us there. Back in a minute.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
What's up? Well, I have no time. I'm telling you right now that this has been so, I almost said enlightening, but exciting for me, that I'm going to take your calls about that call when I return in the Savage Nation, rather than talking about the news, which we do an awful lot on the show. But what happens every few years on this show just happened. If you get a comment, give us a call.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE.
Okay, look, it's like, okay, I'm in the radio business. I get a call like that, so I'll milk it for all it's worth, right? Wrong. There was something there that was paranormal. I don't know how else to put it. Of course, he was real. He was a person. It was not a spirit calling. He has a strong insight, obviously. I don't know the man, but I've heard the same thing that he just said from my own soul. I'm going to try and explain to you where I'm at mentally. Or spiritually. Just you listen to shows like we're friends, right? There's not a normal radio show like I'm going to give you the news. I do that once in a while, a lot actually. I feel as though I'm inside a sack, and that I keep swimming to the perimeter of the sack, and I hit a membrane. Now, this is worrisome in one regard, because the images that come back to me is that, what is the sack I'm talking about? Is it the amniotic sac of life? Am I trying to be born or reborn? Am I not born? Am I not alive? Have I not led a life? Am I on the verge of something great and a breakthrough? Or am I really at the end of my lifespan and this is like death stalking me? See, I don't know the answer to that. But as any human being on this planet, I walk with a reverence for and fear of God and the hereafter. I will tell you that right now. I would lie to you if I told you otherwise. I don't know what God has in store for me or anyone else, let alone my nation. So, in that regard, it's kind of a risky situation when you think about it. You can't just play with your head. You can't just play with your soul. You can't just bounce around and say, okay, let's do this, let's do that. So at the end of the day, what we all have to do is be kind of reasonable and logical with our lives. And that's what we do. So what that means is I don't know what that means right now, but I want to know what you think. I know this. Listening to this show, I'm going to listen to it again tonight, if we can get it up on michaelsavage.com, in that it's unique radio. And as a friend of mine in the media just said, I heard it all. The first 10 minutes was a lightning bolt, and it was. It shocked me. Then it kind of devolved into a repetitive loop, right? It looped back and back and back. I thought he was going to lead us to some vision he had for myself, for the nation. He said something that came back to me, though, which is, you shouldn't be in politics. You shouldn't be in government. I know that for a fact. I would have been a long time ago. People told me to be in politics 40 years ago. I didn't want to do it. I'm just not that kind of person. And then he said, you know, you have an influence that is so great and the power is so strong that Donald Trump is somewhat intimidated by it. I have to say, I'm going to repeat that I think he's right. When I heard this morning when I was on a show on WABC, I had to get up so early, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I saw the dawn. And they said to me, do you know that Donald Trump's going to call into our show tomorrow? I said to them right now, I said, God, I'm pissed. He's going to go on your show, a local show with a smaller audience than mine. I'm really angry. They loved it. They laughed. They liked the reality. And they're New Yorkers. But I thought about it. Why would he go on that show and not my show? I don't know the answer. Maybe he feels that this might be a little too risky. It's the same reason that you never see me on certain networks. And I like Fox News. Don't get me wrong. There are people on it who are great. There are people on it who are monsters, like everywhere else. There's good, bad, and indifferent. There's some wonderful people on Fox News. But there's an individual who is so desperately frightened of me that he is acting like a czar. He poses as a conservative. He poses like Mr. Joe Sixpack. He makes believe he's out for America. Don't for 1 second believe any of that. Do what you want. But I'm not here with the sour grapes or bitter tears. I don't care. I go on Fox for 5 minutes. What's going to happen to my life? Nothing. It's the same with Donald Trump. I'd love to have him on the show. Let's say he came on the show tomorrow for 3 minutes. Hi, Michael, it's Donald Trump. We talk. What is that going to do for my life? How is that going to change the show? We're not in a business where one little spike of a listenership is going to change the nature of the show or the ratings or the income. It's not going to change any of it. So at the end of the day, I'm where I'm supposed to be. That's why I'm still here. Many things have stood in my way. Many things stand in my way as I speak with you. There are people who want me off the air, and there are those who don't want me off the air. There are people who want me on their stations, and people who know that even though I have great ratings, they're not letting me on their stations, even though I had been on them, because they're liberals running conservative talk shows, and they only want people who don't, let's say, upset the apple cart. That's their call. They run the station. I don't. So I'm thrilled that I'm on stations to begin with. I think it's a blessing from God. And what tomorrow will bring, I don't actually know, to be frank with you. Now, I want to know what you think about this. That's what I want to know. I was awed by that call. I can't wait to hear what Mrs. Savage has to say. That's if she was listening to it. I really don't know. Sometimes she can't. But she's very intuitive, and she's seen things in my life that came out of nowhere. She knows that I've done things that no one on earth would have done. She reminds me when I've been unhappy before, I've walked away from extremely lucrative situations, leaving a lot of money on the table just to not be there one more second. She reminds me that I once had a corporate job that I had to take, and I was in another city. I had worked as a consultant for this company for 1 week a month. I used to have to fly back east, and I actually enjoyed it for a while. It was an industrial Midwest town. I got to like flying in there. I liked the old red brick buildings. I got to know the Italian restaurants, of course, needless to say. And then after a while, they made me an offer that I could refuse. They brought me in the office. They said, we're going to give you, I'm talking before radio now. That's 25 years ago or more. They offered me $500,000 in company stock. I don't even know what that's worth today. I'm afraid to look. And they offered me a full-time job. I would have had to move to that city. We looked at houses. I was going to do it. Then the next morning I woke up, and the boss's son, who was a 27-year-old kid, the boss was a hedge fund operator. I don't remember the details. They made him my boss. The kid knew nothing. He took me in his office and he said, well, when you come to work full-time, you're going to create a new product for me every day. I said, what, are you kidding? I can't do that. He said, well, that's what I'm going to have you do. This kid never went to college. The father ran the company. Here I was, a Ph.D. with a somewhat distinguished career at that time. Well, I laid awake all night. I came in the next morning and I went to the CEO or the CFO, at both of them, and I said, I'm resigning as of today. And that was the end of it. I walked out. I never looked back. I had nothing waiting for me because there's only a certain amount of crap that anybody could take. I wasn't willing to take 1 second of that kid's crap. I left. Something opened up for me. I had another radio situation before Cumulus. You all know that. I was with that company for many years. It became intolerable. And I had to spend a lot of money legally to break free of those bonds. It was like living in on a plantation. It took me years and $1 million. The day I was found in the right by the courts, I walked away. I had nothing waiting for me. I wouldn't stay one more day in that situation. Nothing waited for me. There was zero. It's not like I had something waiting. I was going to walk across the street. I walked out. All of a sudden, I swear to God, within a few days or a week, I had a relationship with the Cumulus Corporation. So I believe that there's always an opportunity in this world, especially if you have drive and talent. Something is always going to be there for you. There will always be something. And I guess this is a bigger message to everyone out there who may be struggling in their own careers, which is don't be so afraid that you're going to have nothing if you leave. Now, in a general sense, you should have something planned before you walk away, but I'm a rather impulsive personality in some regard, and I'm also incapable of tolerating, I can't use the word because it's a family show, so let's just say it's a body part in human form. I don't tolerate that very well. So I'd like to hear what you have to say about the psychic who called the show, because I am going to call him at some point. Not now, not this second. You know, I'm a guy who I say I'll do it, and maybe over the weekend I'll do it. What do you think? KSFO, Lance, line 9, 30 seconds or less. What do you think of the psychic's call to the show?
It's Dr. Savage. I'm very pleased you had Richard from WABC on for so long, because you have said many times on the air that the truth has a certain ring to it, and obviously
yes,
you heard it and you went with it. It's very good.
No, I'm running to get a book. I want to get a book in my hand.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you. Yes, the truth has a certain ring to it. I learned that from reading Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway also said something else, which I just said to a young man who was asking me about something during the break. Hemingway said we all have to sell out, but just sell yourself out for the highest price. I have carried that with me since I'm 18 years old. We all have to compromise in life. Everybody listening to the show knows that. You started, you wanted to be an astronaut or a baseball player, but you couldn't be an astronaut or a baseball player. So to you had to sell out, meaning become something else, whatever it is. More humble way of life. Well, you did. Your life went on. Okay, we're not children. There's a gentleman named Vernon Mahabal who will be on the show tomorrow. He's director of the Palmistry Institute. I've told you he's written a book called Talk to the Hand. Many of you think it's, mysticism and garbage. I don't. Because he's read me for a number of years. I only met him on the radio years ago, and he became rather predictive as to transitional phases in my life. So I had to say, okay, a guy must know what he's doing. And recently I saw him in L.A., and he sent me an email, I don't know when, a few months ago, and he said, don't push. He said, you don't have to push anymore. He said, it's all going to come to you. Exactly what Richard just said. He said, you don't have to push right now. It's going to come to you. He said 2018 will be better, because 2017 was a rough year for me. And he said 2019 will be the best year of your life. You're going to be world-renowned in the media in 2019. I said, well, I'm world-renowned now in a certain way, in a much smaller way than he was predicting. What that indicates, I don't know. Nor do I know that I want to be in the media in 2019. I'm not sure I want to stay in this dirty business. Because I've got to tell you, it's not the most enlightening of businesses to be in. When you spend every day of your life looking at the horrors of this world, and you see the horrors of the nation that we are living in and in the world itself, what people do to each other, man's inhumanity to man, man's inhumanity to animals, it can get you crazy. It can get you sick when you can't do anything about it. So I don't exactly know that that's where I want to be. I have to wait and see what guides me in that regard. I'm planning on being in the radio business next year, but I'm not so sure that that's where fate is leading me, okay? We'll see what happens. So let's take a few more callers here. KSFO, KBET, Las Vegas. We got calls from around the nation. I know maybe it's a little self-serving. You say, oh, how dare you talk about yourself? I want to hear about Uranium One. I want to hear about Trump. Okay, you can get that. Get it any day of the week. Stock and trade. Nothing new that I can tell you about it that you don't already know. This, to me, is interesting. This thing that I have with you, this 24 years that I have with you in the 25th year right now, I want you to think about that for 1 minute. I say it like it's nothing. That is an entire lifetime. And it was my career. It was my third, fourth career. It came to me late in life when other things had not worked for me. And do I have to I work till I'm 100, 95? What is this? I mean, I keep asking myself, what am I doing here? Well, I see guys, I'll give you an example. Where did I see this? I was riding a bike. I saw a guy who looked retired, sitting in a park, I think it was yesterday, and he was on a cell phone talking. And I said, you know what? Every man on earth wants to have a radio show. Everybody who has a cell phone thinks they're a talk show host. Everyone who has access to the internet thinks that they're a star, whether it's the girl that does the dancing and says YouTube blocked her. So think about how psycho they become. Everybody wants to be heard in the world. It's human nature, isn't it? You telling me I don't know what I'm talking about? You think I want to just sit at home or go play golf? So what I'm saying is I have what everybody wants in plain English. And I'm not so sure that there's anything beyond this or anything better than this. What it may mean is that I may evolve this show to something different, which I've tried to do over the years. I've tried to lead the show into other areas. I've tried to get it out of the politics. I've tried to get it out of the Obama and the Trump world. It's very difficult to do because the listeners don't want it. I try to bring in nutrition, spiritual things. I wrote God, Faith, and Reason, and people do like it. But I don't know if that's what they would like if I did that solely. If I did only nutrition or spirituality, is that what you want to hear? I doubt it. I could do it. I could just do a spiritual show 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and probably enjoy it more. I could have religious figures on, spiritual figures on, New Age, Old Age, traditional, non-traditional, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Baha'i, Buddhists. I could do that. I would probably love doing that. And I may do that. Maybe that's the spiritual evolution of the Savage Nation.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or SwissAmerica.com.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.
Well, it's been quite a crazy day. There is a lot of news out there that I'll probably get to tomorrow, but it's nothing that you can't get for 2 seconds on the Drudge Report or the other sites that we all look at, or michaelsavage.com. And for me to just read websites for you is like a dead end. So this is an interesting day for me in my radio, the Psychic Call. I'll take one last call and make it brief. Donna on KSFO, fire away. Go ahead, please.
Dr. Savage, I was fascinated with Richard and what he had to say. And this comes from someone who had a registered psychic in the family. And I was very skeptical at the time. But hindsight's 20/20, as I'd say. And with respect to Richard, the word I heard, and I have goosebumps just thinking about this, was leadership. And I think it's going to manifest itself in a very different way, a very good way for you, Dr. Savage. You're very insightful.
No, what should I do? Run for office? You want me to run for the Senate?
I'm not seeing it like that. I'm seeing it maybe through what you're doing with the radio. Just somehow.
I have more influence on this radio show than any senator in the United States of America. I have no voting power, but in terms of shaping public opinion, I would have to say this is more important, more important way to reach people than any senator in the United States today.
I agree with you, and you have a way of delivering it, and I have once said this to you, in a brutally honest way, in a very powerful way. You make us laugh, you make us cry, you make us feel aggravated. We feel everything. We feel you. It's true.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm out of time, Donna, and everyone else. Please stay on the line. I'll send you God, Faith, and Reason. It's been an interesting ride today. I don't know where the merry-go-round, where I'm going to be when it gets when I get off the air. Teddy's in a state. I got to take care of him. He's been sulking all afternoon. He won't come out of his bed because he tried to bite my assistant again, and I admonished him pretty severely. And poodles sulk, as you well know. And I think he's just crestfallen that he lost control again and tried to bite Ryan's boot. And I told him no more. We're going to have to get him a muzzle. He's getting old. He's getting old, and I think he needs a little muzzle, especially when he's around strangers. Something that I would give to Hillary Clinton if I had some kind advice for her. It would be time to muzzle her before she does herself and anyone else any harm. Thanks for listening. Back tomorrow with God's will and your listenership.
Savage.
Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel.